Hello everybody, that is here. Welcome to episode 5. Finally, we're starting building computer. Enough talks about painting and drilling and things like this. We finally, episode 5, we're doing something. But I think I would like to mention one thing before we'll talk about my build here. So for those of you who are thinking about making sidebar or career about building computers, like think twice. Look, it's episode 5, I only start doing something meaningless, and everything before that was pretty much preparation work. So if you decide to make computers for somebody else, unless you one guy in the world, or like 5 guys in the world, like who charge a outrageous amount of money, probably will end up making a lot of work, a lot of hours, and working 10 cents an hour, something like this. So for that reason, I rarely build for my clients. It's more like pro bono work every time. They still pay decent amount of money if you look on it separately, but for amount of time you spend on it, it's a charity. So just my thought about that subject, because a lot of people think, oh, it's such a cool hobby, I want to also maybe making money with it. Well, you still have your hobby, but money part, I'm not sure about that. So what we have here, you can see that I sitting in a bare bone case again, and the reason for that, it was hard to reach certain parts, especially with Radiator, cutting tubes and see what length I need. So when motherboard tray was installed and when my 525 cage was in place, like going to that area was so hard that I just decided, listen guys, I'll just disassemble it. I created all my system, take it apart and then assemble it back and put my water cooling back. So this will be much hassle, and actually it was. So what's happening here? You can see that radiator assembly is finally completed. So we'll look on it from both sides, if you will. I put my grills on. I painted them a long time ago, but never managed to put them in place. I installed 2 test and measurement parts that I almost forgot, but I knew that I have to have it because I kind of like to have some numbers about what's going on with my water cooling system. So on one port of radiator I installed this coolant's temperature sensor. It's kind of crazy expensive for whatever reason, but I bought it for the store and I wasn't sure if it's a coolant's proprietary because I had those issues in the past, or it's a standard fitting. So I decided double check, open the package and put it into standard controller and verify that actually it works. But as long as it's open, instead of selling under discount, I decided, hell it, I just use it for myself. It's kind of cool fitting. I also like that inside the sensor itself really goes into the flow, and it's also very small, so it's not very restrictive. So kind of cool things to have. Second, as my Aqua Aero died and I didn't feel like spend a few $100 on a new one, so I decided to go with the coolant route, and we have this display thingy somewhere, yeah, right there, that I showed you a few times before. So that flow meter will plug directly to that display and will show me all I need. I have this particular part, you wouldn't believe, probably since 2000 something like 9 or 10, so it's like almost 10 years old. Still works, migrated to 5 builds by now. And it's still okay. So my literally upload to coolants to make some parts that seems last forever. I can't say the same about the QDCs, which sometimes get corroded, but this flow meter was just crazy long working, as well as this actually display part, because it also was migrating, they was together migrating from one build to other, so it was a kind of interesting thing. So anyways, retro build, retro parts, right? So yeah, that's what we're having here. Now, this part also get completed. I probably need to flip it, something like this maybe. So you can see that, I don't know which part is better, that I've actually put all screws in place. I got my washers, and because below wouldn't give me 4, but I wanted also to put those cone washers under, so you can see right there. So one is here, so I needed some more. And also I wanted those washers because I can't like them, so I decided to put it in other places too. So I got them in the mail today, believe it or not, and I put it all in place. So this raised configuration of Radiator, it works fine. I checked that everything working. I had to do little additional like ghetto modding. So basically the problem was how to put cables, and this is great case, but certain cable management features just not exist. I just took a drill and did the 3 holes that I put my wires from fans through them. Otherwise I literally have to route it's like all the way down, so it wasn't very easy. So you can see that part is pretty much completed. Looks pretty cool. I got bigger radiator as I wished, and I have all my test and measurement parts that I really wanted to have. So bear with me, I have very heavy oh actually that's too early. There was a little other modifications that I did. I work out placement for my pump, a reservoir combo. Because it's heavy item, I don't want to shift anything. So essentially I drill 4 holes into the panel, and so now it will be fixed and sits right there. And you can see that it will be connected. So I need to remove that screw because it's on the way. Put it in later. So we see not a good angle for the wires. So you can see it will be kind of tight fit, if you will. I partially sleeve my wiring, so similar color to the rest of parts that I was painting. I also spray paint body of D5 pump, so I thought this will be a little bit looks better together with bracket, because black will be fine too, but I think silver a little bit nicer. So yeah, a little bit more fun. It wouldn't was much an effort to do so. And we have inlet going from radiator. We have another port used to, I will use it to fill the system or let air out when I need to drain it. We have exit towards GPU, and this is my draining point with this Beats Power water release fittings. That was the kind of new item from Beats Power. I also had it opened. For that reason I decided that maybe I'll just use it. So that's about my heat killer reservoir, which looks totally awesome. And let me go down a little bit now. Yeah, I love this table, man. This is so good. Helps a lot. Now, super heavy part. Oh. Whew. Alright. So that's my assembly for motherboard configuration. Few words here as well. So first of all, you can see that there's another place when I use those washers. I think that looks pretty cool. Painted my fans, I tested them. They're actually pretty fast and noisy, but I was able to, I think it's 2000 RPM or something ridiculous. So those fans are just crazy ones. But you can slow down them up to 400 or 350 RPM and they became pretty decent silent, I would say. So that's what we'll do. Here I had wires going through the motherboard tray, not intended way to use it, but basically I just remove connectors and put wires through. I debated maybe to sleeve it. I'm not sure if it needed, but you know, if OCD kicks in hardly, maybe I will do it. Now, heat killer GPU block. Let's talk about this one a little bit. You know, I get 2080 Ti. This is a nickel, full nickel plexi block for it. Looking totally awesome. Unfortunately, you can't see it. I against to use razors because from time to time they get out of like breaking basically, something happening with them. It happened to me, happened to my buddies, and you have absolutely weird behavior on your computer. It's really hard to troubleshoot. Your Windows cannot stop booting, so you will troubleshoot till cows go home until you figure out that eraser cable. So I will just plug it into motherboard and call it a day. A few things I changed. So one is I use Fuji Extreme Performance thermal pods. So I don't know what they supply, who knows, maybe it's 3 Kelvin watt, maybe it's 6, who knows. I just put those 13 rated thermal pods, and I know it's like as good as it gets. So I replace thermal pods. Also, you can, those of you who are old enough, you can see that I have this whole version of backplate. Well, some of you are probably scratching their heads right now because this item was discontinued. Yes, it is. I put standard black backplate that comes with this block, which is plain aluminum piece of metal. As boring as it gets. It has heat killer name on it, but it's not exciting. I always like those backplates. They totally awesome, but they stopped using them, stopped making them. So what I did, I essentially just put old 980 backplate on top of 2080 backplate. So that's what you see. And I fixed it with 2 screws. I still cannot find the silver one, so those 2 are black. But it works fine and it looks fine. I absolutely love how that design was in previous years. So I don't know. Watercool should consider to bring it back. And I think it looks totally, absolutely cool beyond the point. So stop raving about that. Now, next. As I promised you, EK was removed and put this awesome heat killer full nickel block in place, which I did, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this one. I'm pretty sure it will also perform better than previous. It has to be. If several people said it, it's a good chance that it's true. So now back to air cooling, believe it or not, which is kind of embarrassing for a water cooling guy like me, but I think it will work even better. So that area is completed. You also might see that I have absolutely amazing, gorgeous looking Dominator limited edition memory. So that was the second part that Corsair helped me, and it's even more important than power supply, because power supply you can't really see it, but memory is always exposed. And this absolutely amazingly looking memory, I can tell you. They have different version of it. This one is silver. You can also get copper and also even some kind of burnt color of the metal. So this one also very cool. So I just took the silver for obvious reasons, and it's absolutely cool. It has both colors. They have the heatsink matching my painting, the side of the memory matching all my fitting and accessories. So that's just got lucky on this one. It has a gold screws for some reason, but you don't really see them, and I'm not sweat much about it. Now, let's talk about tubing just a little bit. How I blend tubes. I'm using 2 colors. One is silver shining from Bits Power for the parts that I want to be silver shining. I also use some parts in matte black because when I start putting it in place, I tried. And certain parts, it just, you don't want something shiny in this particular spot because it doesn't look good, at least in my eyes. So a certain part I will be using black matte because you have a line, nice line of GPU here. You don't want to distract your view to another piece of shining something. So when it's with the black tube, it's more pleasant for my eyes. Also, you can see that I try to make sure all my tubing either vertical, straightly vertical. So you can see my memory is vertical, my tubes from CPU strictly vertical, and or it's horizontal like my GPU. So that's tube going from CPU will be horizontal and tube going from GPU will be horizontal. Again, it's not a rule, I like it. So I build like I like. So if you use the same idea, you can make a similar design. If you want this, all power to you. Hate it, but lots of people love it, so not a big deal, right? Now, what else is left? Actually, not much. I already talked about this section, my pump reservoir combo, about computer. So what I need to do next, essentially, I just need to assemble and this entire bloody thing, and that will be almost end of this build, because I need to fill it, make sure it works fine and no leak. I already pre-tested this portion separately, and my radiator separately with a pressure tester. So now I just need to assemble it, make sure the entire whole thing has no problem. Then I fill it, and if it works well, the last part will be stay, which is also might take some time. I have to start dealing with cables. I'm pretty sure that many of you notice that the best pictures, best looking builds is before you put cables in. As soon as you start put cables, it's losing a little bit of its perfection, if you will, right? So that's why I so love all the shots and that stage of your build when you have no damn cables. You only have your water cooling parts, those beautiful tubes and fittings, and it looks so cool. Then you add cables and it became a little bit not as good. So yeah, I'll try to do it nice, but we'll see how much effort I want to spend on it. I hope that I have my computer for weekend. Not going to happen. But I'm happy with what I'm getting. Really love this computer, really love it. I'm not bragging usually, but this one is just make me really excited. Thank you for watching. I will show you assembled system in next episode.